So today I wanted to explore some ideas I had about mixing watercolor on the Gelli plate. So we're going to try using this transparent mixing white. We're going to try matte medium, and then I mixed up some gum arabic that we're going to try as well. Because normally when we work on the Gelli plate, as you guys probably already know from your experiments, that the watercolor beads up. It just doesn't work. So as we can see, if we put down a little paint, this is what happens. And we don't like that. Well, it's not bad, but it doesn't work for what I want to do. So let's get exploring. So I think we'll start off with some matte medium. What I'm going to do is just put some of this down. And we're going to brayer that out into a light layer. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to let it dry or if I'm just going to, I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll see. Let's try it wet first. Do you have a nice clean Gelli plate today? Let's use colors that we actually might use later. So I'm going to get some of this yellow ochre here. And you can see there's less beading. Now I know that some people have used dish soap, and I'm okay with that. I just think that we can do better. Just kind of my feeling about it. Okay, so there is still some beading. You can see that it's kind of beading up a little bit, but it's not as crazy as what we had before. Let's put some marks in there with our color shaper. So we're just going to play with the Gelli plate today. I don't think I'm going to make an actual piece of work. I just kind of want to see how this translates. So I'm going to keep that pretty solid down there. A sheet of deli paper here. Kind of just ripped off I'm sorry, this is medical exam paper. You can already see that we've got some beading, but it wasn't too bad. I think that worked out pretty well. Let's do another layer of matte medium here. And this time we'll let it dry and see if that makes a difference with the watercolor. All right, way too much. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry and come back. Okay, so I mixed up some of this green with the gold. What do we get in here? What do we got? It feels like we've got a little bit of beading, but now we have the texture of the matte medium on there, which is fine, I think. Let's roll this out a little bit and see what happens. Okay, this seems to be working much better. There's hardly any beading at all, which is really fun. Cool. Love it. Okay, that's a pretty nice, solid color. I'm going to dry this and come back and see if we can add another layer on top. Okay. Let's put down, is that mixing together? I can't tell. Got like a Rothko situation going on here. Kind of like it. It doesn't appear to be mixing with the layer below it. It's kind of hard to tell. The colors are very similar, but you can see the difference, right? We'll let it dry, and then we'll lift it up with a layer of the matte medium. Okay, I got a little bit of matte medium here, and I'm just going to brayer that out lightly. I don't want the watercolor lifting. The goal here is just to get up what we've already put down. So basically we have matte medium, 2 layers of watercolor, and the matte medium on top. I'm going to use just a regular piece of copy paper for this one. See what happens. I'm very curious. Hopefully. Okay. Weird. It did come up, but it left some spots. But that's a pretty cool looking paper. Like, I don't hate that at all. I think it definitely works. Let me go ahead and write what this was. This was matte medium. So we don't forget when we're looking at these later. Dry. Okay. Yeah, I think that works. I wish it would have, like these little sections here, I'm not quite sure why they didn't come up, but I'm okay with it. I think it has a really cool texture on it. Okay. Okay, let's try. Oh God, that's way too much. I have no control over my paint laying out here apparently today. My paint dispersion is off. Let's lay down this layer of this transparent white. I feel like it's going to have the same effect as the matte medium, but I could be wrong. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to let it dry first or just come in. I think I'm going to let it dry because I don't want it mixing with the watercolor. So let's let this dry first. Okay, let's see what happens. Mixed up a new color here. Ooh, that's fun. Oh, I think I still had some. I think I still had some transparent white here in my brayer. But I'm okay. It's okay. We'll still figure it out. That's kind of cool, actually. It does give it a little bit of texture, which is weird. I wonder if we can get more like painterly marks. Let's see what we can do here as she smooths all the marks out. I mean, I think this might have some possibilities. I've just been kind of curious about the whole using jelly plate for, oh, look, I got mixing white there. Oops. It got some on from my table. Let's let it dry. Maybe we'll add another layer. Okay, I mixed up a little bit of this sort of turquoisey color here. Let's bring some of that through here. See what happens. I don't think I'm gonna, I think I'm just gonna leave this to kind of do its thing. Maybe we'll put some down here and brayer this part out. So we have like 2 different, ooh, I love that. Actually really kind of love that. We'll leave the brush strokes up there. I love everything about that. Okay. So we're just going to put down a layer of more of that mixing white that I squeezed out too much of. I'm going to lightly brayer quickly. This is going to be the layer that picks up. This is fun. I haven't done a paper sesh like this in a while on the jelly plate. So we're going to use another piece of just plain copy paper. So I think that gives us the best indicator on what it's going to look like. Let's get out our Baron. Give us a little bit more pressure here. You can definitely use your hand, or you could use a wooden spoon. Anything works, really. Or you can use your roller, your brayer. That works too. Okay, let's see what we get. Ooh, this one came up really nice. We're missing some pieces, but... Okay, this one might be my favorite so far. How fun is that? Obviously the watercolor's dry. They're not going to be as vibrant, but this is a really fun paper. So this was transparent white. And that was dry. Okay. That definitely worked. Those beautiful layers through there. Fun. Okay, let's do the next one. Okay, for the next one, I have this gum arabic solution that I made. I used gum arabic powder and glycerin. This was a 2 parts water, 1 part gum arabic, and then 1 part, that doesn't make any sense. I'll leave the recipe in the comments, but basically we use these 2 ingredients to make this solution of gum arabic. Like I said, it is the binder for watercolor. It may look a little different than what it looks like when it's store-bought, and I'm not quite sure why that is, but this is pure gum arabic. We're gonna brayer that out. Oh God. Okay, this is not what I expected at all. I don't think I expected it to be that gloopy. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, that didn't work. That didn't work. I thought that would work. I thought wrong. So the texture that you're seeing is from the actual, from the gum arabic. You can see that it kind of left some little, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it left bumpies on it, on the plate, which I don't know why that would be. The plate's made of gelatin, so I don't know. Maybe it'll work out fine. I don't know. Okay, this doesn't seem to be a good thing. I'm going to let this dry, put in a layer of matte medium, and then we'll pull it. Okay. Matte medium. I really thought that would work better. But that's why we try things, right? Because we don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea what's going to happen sometimes. Okay. I'm going to use a piece of med exam paper for this one. This is pretty transparent. We probably got some good textures, though. Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, that's kind of fun. Not quite what I expected, but still kind of fun. Okay, so I mixed up some Aquapasto, which is this stuff. It is a thickening agent for watercolor. You can see this is really thick. I did add a little bit of water to it. Okay, so we're just gonna, I'm gonna put nothing down here. Ooh, this one's fun. Let's use our brayer. I feel like it needs more color in there. Seems a little light. Let's add some more of that into this mix. It's definitely not beating up, so that's good. You can definitely feel that it glides on better. So really, the problem with watercolor on the Gelli plate is the fact that the water, the Gelli plate is kind of mostly oil, if you think about it. Oil-ish. It's not oil, but it's, you know what I mean. So the problem is when we add watercolor to it, or any water at all, it's just going to want to resist and bead up. So what we're trying to do is change the viscosity of the paint so that we can get it down onto the surface. And the Aquapasto seems to be doing a pretty good job, I would say. Now, well, here's the question, though. If we, let's take some of this away. See if we can make some marks. If we let this dry, can we then put watercolor over top of it? That is a question I think we must answer. I'll let this dry. We'll see if we can put another layer on top of just watercolor with no Aquapasto. Okay, this is just plain watercolor. Ooh, okay. That's interesting. So on the places where there is, because you see we got these little, if we put it down here, it's probably just going to bead up like it normally would. That's quite interesting, I think. So we can paint, let's make it a little bit more wet. We can paint over the Aquapasto once it's dry and have no beading. This is fun. You can see over here how it's beading up and even right through there. Ooh, what's that color? I don't think I've ever used that color. Let's make some more of the, ooh, that's bright. I was expecting that brightness. I'm really not trying to make any fancy paper here, guys. We're just playing with how this might work out. I'm very curious about this because it could open up some whole new activity for us if we can use our watercolors on the gel plate. Let me do one more thing. So what happens if we use, this is the liquid umber. What happens if we squeeze out a little bit of that and just use it? I'm not going to use the brayer, I don't think. So straight out of the tube, right out of the tube of paint. Let's see what happens if we put it up here. Right out of the tubes of paint, you can get no beading. Because you can see right through here, we haven't used, there's no Aquapasto layer there. Oh, that's really interesting. Great, now I've done that. Okay, let's let this dry and we'll pull it up with a layer of matte medium. Okay, let's roll this out. Matte medium. This is very interesting, guys. Very interesting. Okay, let's get another sheet of our copy paper here. Because if we can do this with mixed media and watercolor, this could be a real big game changer for us as far as how we use our watercolor paints going forward. Okay, let this sit for about 5 minutes to get it a little bit more dry. Ooh, this is fun. It didn't get all of it up, but I'm okay with that. That's pretty darn cool. I really love these textures through here. The Aquapasto is definitely, this is Aquapasto. Which is Aquapasto. Pasto. Dry. This marks through here with the straight out of tube watercolors are really fun. But that can be dangerous. Like the Aquapasto is great. It lasts forever. I've had this for about probably a year and a half. Watercolor paint is, you know, it's not inexpensive. Using it straight out of the tube, you're obviously going to use a lot more. So that's something to keep in mind. But I love these sort of marks that we got going through here. One more thing I want to try. Let's do that. So these are the Inktense Blocks. I also have a tin of Inktense pencils. So I'm going to get this wet. I want to see. I'm not sure if I've ever used them on the Gelli plate. Honestly, I can't remember. I put nothing down here. Because of the way that tube paint reacted, I kind of wanted to see if the Inktense, messy, very messy, react the same way. And they seem to be, because they're a little thicker pigment than the watercolor. When they're wet, oh, that's really kind of cool, actually. You can get some pretty fun marks with them. I'm trying to stay within my, I don't want that color. I'm trying to stay away from the red because I have a sneaky suspicion that the red might leave some staining. So I'm kind of trying to stay away from the red. I don't use a lot of red anyway. But we can go back in and mark in. Okay, that's kind of cool. It doesn't even really bead up. A little bit, but not like the watercolor. That's kind of cool. Let's see what happens when we use the pencils. Now, you have to be careful with the pencils because you don't want to, like, stab your Gelli plate. So that you kind of want to be a little gentler with the pencils. Use them on their side. Don't use them like this because you don't want to stab through your Gelli plate. That's the last thing you want. These seem to be working too. It's intriguing to me that there's not, you can see there's a lot of water. I mean, it's kind of beating up a little bit. But the more pigment that you put down and disperse, it feels like, oh, there we have some beading once we start spreading it out. But it beads in a different way. Like it's not leaving those marks. It's just sort of, it's hard to explain. It's sort of just moving the pigment around a little bit. This is probably going to take forever to dry. But it's interesting. Like this mark is interesting. I like how that kind of makes it fluid. Let's try this brown color. See what that's all about. What is that color? Bark. The bark has a little bit of purplish to it. It's funny too because the colors in the blocks are not the same. Some of them are same, but most of them aren't. There's like this bark color is not in that set. Ooh, this is really fun. What a fun way to make marks. Like you could start, this is a good way to start off a painting. Or maybe if you have a watercolor base, well, we'll see. We'll see how it looks when it's, I'm not going to get too excited. We'll see what it looks like once we've dried it and kind of worked back into it. And this is without anything on the plate. I would imagine that if we put down a layer of, we may have to try that, put down a layer of the mixing white, the transparent white, that might even work a little better. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there just because I feel like I've put down a lot of marks. Okay, let's let this dry. We'll see what happens. Okay, it's dry. Let's put down some matte medium. You want to lightly brayer this because you don't want to reactivate anything. I might put a little bit more because I think I'm not putting enough on. I'm not giving it enough things to grab on. I kind of like this. Like, I hope it turns out. It's always the thing about experimenting, like, what happens if it doesn't work? Well, if it doesn't work, we know it doesn't work. Okay. Let's put this paper down. I was going to work more on transparent papers, but I think to demonstrate the techniques, we really need to have something that's more of a matte paper so we can see what's going on. Okay, I'm going to let this sit for about 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and lift it up. Okay, let's see what we got. I use a little bit more, so it's a little stuck, but guys, the Inktense, that didn't come up. Inktense for the win. Like, that's kind of, I did add a bit of that, I forgot to say that, I added a bit of that umber color, watercolor through there, straight out of the tube. I think that worked really well. Look at these fun marks we got going on through here. Inktense, who knew? Just on the jelly plate, nothing else. Interesting. Okay, final thoughts. Let's look at what we did. This was the matte medium wet, and you can see that we got some beading, but overall it came up, so that's kind of good. That was wet matte medium, though. That wasn't dry. This was the matte medium dry, which was really successful, I think, except I didn't put enough matte medium on top when I pulled it, but you can see that we've got some really fun non-beading areas, which is very promising. This one, I think, was probably the most successful piece that we did, and this was the transparent white dry with watercolor rolled over it. And we did 2 layers of watercolor on this. Really fun textures through here. I think this one was the most successful. This was the gum Arabic, which didn't really work at all. This was the Aquapasto dried on the plate and then with watercolor over it. I think this one was also very successful. Really good texture through here, and I can see how that would be kind of fun to add over, like a watercolor that you've already started. That might be kind of fun. And the Inktense was also very successful, I believe. This was just on the plate without any medium or anything, just medium to pick it up. And I think this one is very, very promising. I hope you enjoyed today's video. We're not going to be making a piece today, but I'll use some of these techniques in the next piece that I do. Probably this one, because this one I really, really liked. And I can see this working as a watercolor and then putting some of these marks over top of it. And you could just use the Inktense on top, but these like little sections right here where it's almost transparent and you get these fun lines, you're not going to be able to get that on just using them on the gel, on dry paper. Okay. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching today, and I will see you in the next one. If you have any questions or comments or ideas, let me know. Thanks so much. Bye.